Hey, welcome to Born Bearded. I'm Dave, and today we're going to be getting into the nightly and morning routines. I'm going to show you my nightly and my morning routine to give you an idea of what's really been working with me in this gray beard. As some of you may know, with gray beards, they tend to get really dry throughout the day, and in the mornings, sometimes they're just almost unmanageable. So we're going to go through those nightly and morning routines to give you guys some options, give you guys an idea of what I do, and hope that it might help you. Also, I'm not affiliated with this company, Luxurious Bastard, but I love his products. I recently picked up the Smoky Apple Bastard. This one is, I don't know if you guys have ever put an apple pie into your smoker and cooked it that way. If you haven't, you really got to try it. There's something amazing that happens with that apple pie in the smoker. This particular scent is one that I'm trying to encourage him to put on his staple so he has it all year long, because it is when you first put it in your hands, you get those apples, the sweetness of those apples. When you put it on, you get a little bit of that smoky smell. It's not a strong smoky smell at all whatsoever. But a few minutes in, you start getting those hints of the bourbon to mix in with all that. And this scent really lasts throughout the day. You can be going 3-4 hours throughout the day, get the wind running through your beard. You get a nice smell of the beard oil that you just put in. I highly refer Luxurious Bastard. Again, I'm not affiliated with him, but I absolutely love his products, so check him out. Now, with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get through the intro, and we'll get started into the nightly routine. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be going through my nightly routine, and I highly suggest this for, especially if you have a gray beard, and if you get those days where it's just extremely dry and you can't seem to get enough nourishment in there. I did use the Bar Beard Wash from Beard Octane. It is pH balanced where you can use this daily, and it's not going to completely strip everything out. Put it in there, used to comb, help exfoliate the skin. Now I'm out, beard's wet, it's damp, but there is no product in it. So I kind of want to go through and show you my nightly routine, see if this might help you. I would tell you that before I started doing this, I was always having trouble in the mornings, my beard being extremely dry. Always felt like I was always having to catch up on the nourishment, and it was constantly adding oil or trying to find alternatives because it would just dry out. This way, when you get up in the morning, and after this, I'm going to be showing you my morning routine to show you what to do with the product that is in there. So the first thing I do as soon as I get out of the shower is I'm going to go ahead and add some beard oil. I grab the amount that I would normally use, which is 1 dropper. And if your beard is shorter, you may not need that much, but as my beard gets longer, with as coarse as my beard is, this does tend to help quite a bit. So like usual, when you put the beard oil in, you want to get that down to the skin, and then you're going to want to let it set for about 5 minutes before you do anything else with it. And there's a reason, even though we're not going to add any heat to it tonight, there is a reason for it, and we'll get right to that. Okay, Bills, it's been about 5 minutes, and this is my process without having to do any kind of a leave-in conditioner, without doing any kind of coconut oil, any kind of heat treatments. This is what worked for me to where I don't even do that anymore. So at this point is where I'm going to say, use some beard butter in the evening. Now this is going to be the Smoky Apple Bastard beard butter, and I use the Smoky Apple Bastard beard oil just to kind of give me a heads up for tomorrow, probably what I'm going to wear tomorrow as well. Really, really love this scent. So at first, I'm going to get an okay amount. This is probably what I would use throughout a whole day, but we're going to go ahead and use about that much. We're going to take it in our palm of our hand. We go ahead and rub it through. Now, mind you, if you're going to use this method, make sure that you're using a beard butter that has no wax in it, because we're not looking for styling here. We're looking for nourishment. So it is almost 5. So we're going to go ahead and add it to the beard Make sure to get the tips of the beard, get all the edges. You really don't need to run down the skin. It can cause acne if you get too much down towards the skin. So we're just trying to coat the beard hairs with it. Rub it in, and you'll notice there's not much left on the hands. Kind of put a little bit back here. Really good for tattoos as well. Then I'm going to take my brush and I'm just going to make sure it's evenly through. Don't worry about shedding. You can lose anywhere between 3 to 30 per day, and it's not that much of an issue as long as it's not breakage. Some of those hairs have just lived their life and they're done and making way for a new hair to come through. So now that we've got all of the beard butter through there, what I'm going to do now, and fellas, I know, but let's go ahead and get a hair tie. Your girlfriend should have one. I'd be able to find some laying around the house. Even a scrunchie would work, and I've used that at times too as my beard is growing. I'm finding that I can use a little bit more and more. With a short beard, it's more difficult. That doesn't mean that you can't use anything on it. But whatever you decide to use, just make sure when you're putting it in, you're not tightening it as far as you can tighten it. We want a loose hold throughout the night. Now I'm going to go ahead and get my comb, kind of pull this over. This is finally starting to get to the point where I can get the sides in here now. Is when I started this bearded journey, wanted a different style. I didn't really make the decision to grow it out until I was probably about 2 or 3 months in. I'll say probably about 3 months in. You just got to put it in. And again, you're not going to go real tight. And then I just kind of put a little knot there at the end. Pull down. And it's nice and loose. You're not pulling at the skin. Don't feel any beard hairs being pulled when you move your face and you stretch your neck. So now at this point, you're just going to go ahead, let it set. You're going to go to sleep with it like this. And if it falls out at night, it falls out at night. It's not the end of the world. But there's something about having the hairs bunched together with this butter in there that just increases the amount of conditioning that you get out of this product. So I highly suggest trying it. And in the morning, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about as far as that hydration and the conditioning feel. But with all of that said, I'm going to say goodnight to you guys, and I will see you in the morning. Have a great night.
Early the next morning.
So as I mentioned last night, I'm going to go ahead and do my morning routine. Now, we already have that butter into our beards, and it's still tied up. You can tell it's very loose still. You really don't want to get that tight too tight, but you want to get those hairs together so all that nourishment just kind of goes through while you're sleeping. I'm going to pull this out, let you see what it looks like. Where I typically start off in the mornings, it's pretty interesting to see what it goes from and to, and show you my process. We're going to go ahead and rinse it out a little bit. You don't want to get all of that out of there, but there is some residual there from it setting last night. You're going to want to get some warm water going through. Just kind of brush it through your beard, get that excess out of there, and then we'll go from there. Here we go. Now, here is the beard. And I got to tell you, the first time you take that out and run your fingers through your beard, you're going to feel a difference that you haven't felt in your beard in a long time, especially if you have a gray beard. I highly suggest doing this. Typically, your gray beard is really, really dry, or it tends to get dry at the end of the day or after a few days. This gets all that nourishment back into your beard and it feels soft. So the plan is I'm going to go ahead and rinse out my beard. I'm going to get some of that stuff out of there. And then we're going to go back over to the studio. I'm going to go ahead and straighten this out and groom this beard a little bit and let you see what my process is. All right, well, here we go. Here I have a towel handy and the tip film. Kind of helps to show us and getting that stuff out of there. All right, we are wet enough. We got a majority of that out of there. And now there won't be much in there. Your hair has absorbed good majority of that throughout the evening. And like I mentioned before, it's not going to be a wax-based butter that I'm using in the evenings. Don't really want anything for the hold. We just want that to set and absorb into the beard. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and pat my face dry a little bit, and I will meet you guys in the studio. All right, everybody. So here we are back into the studio area. I'm going to go ahead and show you my steps for straightening out my beard in the morning, and we'll just kind of go from there. So one of the first things that we need to do while our beard is still damp in the morning, we want to go ahead and add a quality beard oil. Just kind of look into the ingredients on there. You want to make sure that argan oil is pretty close to the top of the ingredients list because that's what we need to help protect us from that heat. And just like last night, it has already been planned. I'm going to be using the Luxurious Bastard. This particular scent is called the Smoky Apple Bastard. And I got to tell you, we are going to talk about this closer to the end of the video. This is an amazing scent where we're going to get into it a little bit later. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take the beard oil and you're going to go ahead and use typically about the same amount that you would use throughout the day. I typically add a full dropper. And mind you, this is just off of a standard wash. This is not off of a reset. So a single dropper will work just fine for me. I'm going to add this into my beard, and then I'm going to make sure it's on my fingertips. And I'm going to get under here and rub it into the skin. Now, we want to do this while the beard is still a little bit damp because it helps add that nourishment in, help add that hydration in, and kind of lock things in. You want it to set into your beard for about 5 minutes prior to starting to do your heating process. So if you're using a straightener, I would say go ahead and start your straightener. And if you're using a blow dryer, just wait the 5 minutes. But typically, if you start the straightener, then by the time it's ready to go, it should be a sufficient amount of time to let that beard oil just kind of absorb in there prior to the heating process. So I'm going to go through the 5 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes now. I do have a little spray bottle that I keep adding just a little bit of the water to just to kind of keep it a little bit damp. Now, we're not talking about dripping wet. We want it just damp, towel dried. I know a lot of you are concerned out there about adding heat to your beard, but there are a lot of studies that show that the heat, when done correctly, is actually beneficial to your hair. So there's 3 things that you need in order to straighten out your beard. And that's going to be heat, tension, and time. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have a couple brushes around, similar to this, that's going to really grab into the hair to where you have that tension while you're pulling down with the blow dryer to help assist in straightening out your beard. Now, you don't want to jerk it and have it pulling out of your face, but you just want to give it a little bit of control while you're going down with the blow dryer. If you're not going to be using a blow dryer at all, and the only thing you're going to be using as a straightener, I have a link right up here where I talk about straightener. It's kind of a product review, but gives you an idea of how to straighten out your beard with just a straightener. So with that being said, let's get into it. Let's get this poofy beard, let's get it straightened out. So make sure that your blow dryer is set on a medium heat. You want your blow dryer to go down with your brush. It's going to help give that tension and it's going to help give that heat kind of directly where it's at. Don't stay in one place too long. All right, guys, so I went ahead and muted the microphone so it wasn't blowing the air directly into the microphone and killing your guys' ears, but notice here that I'm using the brush to grab a hold of the hair and running the blow dryer in the same direction that I'm blowing out the hairs. This is going to help straighten them because remember, it's tension, heat, and time. So you don't want to leave it there too long, but make sure afterwards, like after you use the straightener, that you're going to go ahead and get that blow dryer back out, use that cool shot to set that mold, and you'll be good to go. If you guys have any questions, definitely leave it down in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. I'll see you guys back on the video.
All right, fellas, this is about where I start explaining the heated brush, where it's going to help manage those stubborn beard hairs that don't want to straighten out as much. You don't want to over straighten. You do want it to look natural. So you don't want it to look perfectly straight. But these will help with those flyaways, especially during that awkward phase. It's going to help you out quite a bit. Again, if you guys have any questions on this, there is a link that's going to be in the description for the video where I talk about this particular beard straightener.
I'm going to use the kink comb a little bit and straighten out the beard. Sorry if the audio was a little bit lower earlier. I turned off my mic so I wasn't blowing the blow dryer right in it. I think we're good to go now. All right, now at this point is where I will go in and I'll get my hair brushed. And if you use any kind of a mustache wax or anything, you can go ahead and pull this through. What I'm typically using at this point, I'm using some of the beard balms that I have left over that I haven't really used, and just kind of running those through. They will help give you that initial hold. Once you get to a certain point, you're not going to need to use too much of it because you've already started to train those hairs on your mustache to kind of lay where you want them to. Now, keep in mind the heating of your beard and the straightening of your beard also helps train these beard hairs, especially if you're starting to get dips. And that kind of helps contribute to that awkward phase. So straightening it out, you're training those hairs to kind of lay down where they're supposed to. I know that my beard was pretty wild this morning, and it looks like that every morning. And I will tell you, it does look worse right after my weekly reset. That'll be on an upcoming video. It's just really poofy and it's just way out there. It's really wild. I'll have to get that on video for you guys on one of my upcoming videos, which will be on my weekly reset. All right, guys, if you made it to the end of the video, I want to say thank you for sticking around. I want to take a second to thank all the subscribers that have logged in over this last couple months. You guys are amazing. All the new subscribers that have found that they find value in this, thank you guys so very much. All the veterans that have been here since day one and on, thank you so much. Your support means a lot to me. So I want to tell you guys at the beginning of November, don't forget about No Shave November, what it's about, men's health. Go make your appointments, call your brothers, make sure they're making appointments to get things checked out. Early detection is your best possibility of coming out okay in the end. All right, everybody, have a great night. I'm Dave, and I was born bearded. Have a great night, fellas.